Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today is Thursday, the 26th. So I've had some really interesting conversations in the last couple of weeks, but I had an especially interesting one last night. I was checking in with an old-time friend who lives in Washington State, see how she's doing, how she's managing things. And the interesting part of our conversation was actually surrounding her husband. And that a couple of weeks ago, he had said to his employer, here are some things that we need to put into place. We need to be prepared for what's inevitably going to come. And unfortunately, this was not received well. They kind of scoffed at him. And wouldn't you know, just about 10 days later, they were thrown into a frenzy, and all the items that he had brought to his employer of these are the next steps, they actually had to be put into play. So all that to be said, I want to ask you as an organization, as a leader of your organization, what are those voices? What are those voices that have come to you with innovative, creative ideas for your organization that maybe you had pushed aside, maybe that you had scoffed at, maybe you had said, this is not a part of our plan? Now that we're in the middle of this crisis, how can you go back to those individuals and say, you know, you have something there? These are our intrapreneurs. These are those people that are working for your organizations that really promote innovation. They're creative, or they're those strategic thinkers that are seeing those things ahead of time, where maybe you weren't thinking that these ideas, these creativities were really anything that you could put into place. And now you're saying, wow, we need to pivot. We need to be strategic and put new items into play. Who are your intrapreneurs? You need to identify those. Identify who those are in your organization, because honestly, this is a time of great innovation. And this is an opportunity for all of us to come together as a community and ask for those ideas. How can we be creative together? How can we make this remote work situation work? How can we be innovative with our products and our services? So identify those intrapreneurs that are within your organization. Think back to those times somebody has brought something to your attention that you kind of pushed to the side. Now is the time to bring them back into the situation and say, I think you had something. Let's go and dig into this a little bit more. I'd also say, as you're having these conversations with these innovators within your organization, they're probably feeling the stress and strain of things as well. So when you go to them, ask them, how can I help you feel safe? We're innovating, we're being creative right now, but how can I help you feel safe during this time? How can I support you? This is where leaders are really going to shine. Are you asking to listen and to learn from those under you, or are you just barking out commands? The other thing I would ask them is, what is your plan? What is your plan outside of our organization, outside of your creativity and your innovation that I really want to listen to and I want to implement? But what is your plan? What is your plan for safety? How can I make you feel safe? How can I help you with planning efforts? And the other question I would say, when you're talking to these intrapreneurs and you're having this co-collaborative, real creative process right now during this time, I would say to them, how often should we be checking in with each other? How often should we be working with each other on this process? Allow them to have that say-so. Allow them to have that control in this time. And I really do believe when we are thinking about those intrapreneurs that are within our organizations, that we are enabling them, we are empowering them through their innovation and their creation. We're also showing them that we're leading in the fact that I care about you, I care about your safety. I'm sorry I didn't listen before. It's not that I don't think that you're relevant or are an integral part of our organization. It just didn't work then, but I see how it can work now. By expressing these things to those people in your organizations, by supporting them, by making sure that they have plans of action on keeping safe, by asking them, how can I support you? What are the steps we should take to get this thing moving? This is really going to help these organizations, your organization right now, thrive through this pandemic. So I want to ask you, who are those innovators? Who are those creative individuals that maybe you weren't listening to before now? What can you do to allow them to create, to innovate, and to expand your organization in a time where, wow, it just seems like there's not a lot of options? Just something to think about those individuals. Because listen, just like my friend said to me, her husband went to his organization and said, hey, we've got to get these things in place. I can see this happening. And wouldn't you know, they ignored him. They scoffed at him. 10 days later, they were scurrying, trying to do the exact things he said, let's do it. Don't be that organization. Listen to those individuals in your organization. Listen to your employees. Lead. Ask them to innovate and create, and how can you help them along with that? So thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Piper Harris with Poema Women's Success Coaching. I hope this is finding you doing well, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.